Hey guys, welcome to Doozer shop. It's Monday after work, out here in the shop. I wanted to make a video to kind of document a machine that I've had for probably 10 years. And it's a really cool machine. Architecturally, the design of the machine, the engineering in the machine is really neat. It's a Held, H-E-A-L-D, number 70, ID grinder, an internal diameter grinding machine. Let's take a handheld and then I'll talk about it, because you don't want to see me here just stand in front of the camera and talk. Let's go show it to you and I'll bring you some of the details. All right, steady as she goes. So we're going into the high bay. And this is what I've been working on for a while. Getting everything spick and span in the high bay. Oh, let me give a shout out here to my friend Jeff at work. He operates the water jet table, and he cut me out like a little shamrock star kind of thing out of 1/4-inch plate steel. Kind of neat. Thanks, Jeff. I'll use that for something neat. Anyhow, cleaning up the mighty Kearney Trekker. My videos are a bit all over, and that's okay. I've got 2 pallet jacks. Maybe I've talked about it before. A wide one, which has long forks, and a narrow one, which has short forks. And I think the wide is 27 inches outside to outside, and the narrow is 21 inches outside to outside. But as you can see, all my machines, I keep them on blocks, even like the permanent installations. I keep on 2x4s or 4x4s, whatever. This is a Crown PT50. I had this under the Kearney Trekker at one point, and I blew it. I blew the main ram seal U-cup. And then I was lifting something else, probably the grinder machine here, and I blew the pump seal. So I finally bought a kit for it. For the main ram I bought a U-cup, and for this one I bought the whole kit, and I replaced the check balls and everything, and thank goodness I did, because the check valves were messed up a little too. This jack I bought at a garage sale for $30, and the one fork was bent, like tweaked bent. And you see I had to heat up the whole area to get the cross pin back into alignment. That's all discolored from getting it cherry red. But anyhow, that's back in action. My Crown PT50 is back in action, and I need it because it's narrow, and you can see how it is good for lifting the machines that are not as wide. And I have empty boxes on top, and an empty gas can. But anyways, the topic of this video, 4 minutes in, is this machine here. Now this is a Held, I think made in Worcester, Massachusetts, I'm not sure. Something like that. Held model 70. This machine is 1920 or earlier. You can see Held, H-E-A-L-D, and you can probably see number 70. Now the number 70, I've got a brochure for it, and I don't have a date in the brochure, or the manual rather. There was a model 70A and a 72. I think the model 70A said 1924, and the 72 was 1929. So this thing had to be 1920 or earlier. And it's made to be driven off the line shaft on the ceiling, okay? You can see that there's a pulley here, and you know, it's in neutral. You can watch and you can throw the clutch, and now it's all spinning the spindle. See, everything turns, okay? So it's got a cast iron shoe clutch in there. Let me show you. So there's the internal spindle. It's supposed to have a held red ring grinder cartridge. This has a Parker. I don't know if that's the precursor to Parker Majestic. It could very well be. It says serial number and model number and whatever. Oil drip lubricated. It's got a buck 8-inch set true 3-jaw and a little spindle taper here. Not taper, I guess there's a taper, but these threads, I guess they're normal threads. Very coarse though, but whatever. Again, made to be driven off the line drive off the ceiling, forgive the flashlight. But this thing had this structure of fabricated steel. This is all blacksmith work. It had a motor on top, a really old motor to drive it, and a flat belt which is hanging around. There's a flat belt somewhere. And then this thing had a drive situation too, with a double jack shaft reduction, and it was bolted on. I took it off. It was bolted on here, and it was bolted on through here, and you can see there's threaded holes. It was tapped in, I think here, and then on the back side to drive this. And actually the power feed for the table, right? This has got a power feed table back and forth and reciprocates. I think this is driven off a power overhead line shaft originally, but it's got a motor on it now, and they had it belted up with a V-belt, and that motor, it's 220 volt, 3-phase, 60 hertz, 675 RPM. Very slow motor. I think it's a 2-horse. Maybe I said that. But that's and it's got more modern wire leads coming out of it, so it could have been rewound maybe in the 70s. But I said a lot there, and I'm going to go into detail with some of that in a minute. But why am I so interested in a 100-year-old machine? This thing is more than 100 years old. We're in 2026. This thing's probably a 1920. So, you know, it's 106 years old, maybe more. I want you to kind of see the architecture of this thing. And it's going to be, I'm not going to hand crank it. I did oil it up and clean it up a little bit. But see the table? I got the chuck in this cardboard box of junk on it. The table that slides back and forth, it slides the internal grinding wheel in and out. So it's attached to the cross slide for your depth of cut. And this whole table slides, and let me back up. From there, which carries the cross slide and the grinding wheel, the table goes all the way underneath this. This is an arch. And there's the table, right? If you look, it's got a V-way and a flat way, trust me on that. Oops. So that table is massive for the length of what it is. in this arch structure that holds the workhead. It arches and attaches to the base around the sliding table. Look at that, right? So that's open on there, and all this goes. Oh, the shadows. Ugh. That table, look at that. It goes underneath the spindle arch, or the workhead. And it's got oil cups on it, you know, for lubing the ways. And all that supports this cross slide where the grinding spindle is supported. So that's a lot of mass. This whole table, let me back up even more, from there to just the end of there. All that way area and surface supports that grinding spindle. That's a cool architecture for a machine tool. Now, being the 1920s, I don't think these things existed in the world, other than you had a lathe that you could put a tool post grinder on, and that was your grinding wheel. That was your cylindrical grinder, your internal grinder, external grinder, whatever. And I think they started figuring out that the grit was very bad for the lathes' ways, and wore out the lathes quite quickly. So they discovered that if you make the table, or I guess it's the saddle, but let's call this a table, bigger than the ways, right? So the saddle of a lathe is a very small fraction of the surface of the bed, where the table on this machine is bigger, larger, longer, let's say, than the surface of the base or the ways, you know, like the bed, as a lathe terminology would be. So this is a cool machine. That's why I think it's worth saving, even though it's really old, antiquated, dirty, and I've been cleaning on this many hours. And you know, on this arch, I'll start talking about the features. This whole this workhead. Okay, first off, the bearings are plain bearings. They're like a Harding lathe or the tie bar Hendy lathes, where they're one piece, but they're slit like almost like an ER collet is slit. Looks like a big ER collet, only but cast iron. I assume they're cast iron. I haven't looked at I've only looked at the cutaway schematic diagram. But they're either bronze or cast iron. They look like a giant ER collet. And why they look like an ER collet is because the outside is tapered. And when you adjust this nut and this nut, you can draw the bushing, the bearing into the taper, and it's because of the multi-segments, it collapses. And that's how you adjust the running fit of the bearing clearance on the shaft of the spindle. Same in the back. And I don't know what that hole is for. I have no idea. But there's two slotted grub screws and an oiler, right? And it's like a little flip cap oiler, pretty cool. And the same here, except instead of slotty screws, they're Allen head screws. And this is a little lift up oiler, not a flip over oiler. Like a lantern oiler. Kind of cool. And like I said, this one's adjustable too. And then your thrust is set by this threaded check nut here. How cool is that? Got some writing on it there, pretty neat. And that's an open ball type thrust. So that's cool. I don't know if you've ever seen, this is probably terrible without the lamp. It's a lever clutch, and it's an expanding shoe, like an iron on iron shoe clutch. It's really hard to show you, but that lever is like a fork, and it, you know, engages, moves it in and out like a, you know, transmission gear or whatever. This back is interesting. It's missing a cup on the oiler. I was wondering what this is. I thought it was to adjust the clutch. No, that's a bevel gear, and it looks to me a semicircular opening and two securing holes with they're tapped. Maybe this is I thought indexing feed, but I believe it's for a bevel gear, a crown gear, as you would call. So this could be a slow adjustment for indexing or something. And then this is cool. That's a worm gear. That's a worm, and the worm wheel is on the rotatable base. So this is, I didn't free this up yet. I got more oil to work in there and what have you. Taper per foot, I think. And there's the serial nombre. I'm sure it's got a circular T-slot. What a neat machine. Power comes in here. Those are probably Hyatt roller bearings, maybe. This 3-speed shifter's broke off, and that's going to be easy to fix. That's real easy to fix. It looks like it's been broken off a while. There's a 3-speed transmission in there, underdrive, direct, and overdrive. And why not? Maybe lift it up. I'll let the camera acclimate. I should get the lamp, but you get it. There's 1, 2, 3 gears and bearings, and it's a sliding key transmission. I believe the shifter slides a key inside that engages one or the two or the third, the first, second, or third one rather. And I don't know if those are poured bearings or Hyatt bearings or what. I should open this. I'm not gonna. That's their table reversing mechanism. It's got a shuttle in there, which is driven off of that, moves the shuttle, and then the trip dogs move it. And that's the manual table back and forth. This is the clutch. Now this is a dog clutch with fingers, I believe. And this is a model 70. I think the 70A may have a cone, leather-faced cone clutch, because I think the 70A was more suited to the motor drive as opposed to the overhead belt drive. Kind of neat. Oh man, like all this stuff. Oil fitting, oil fitting, oil fitting, oil fitting, oil fitting. There's just oil fittings like galore everywhere. Let me walk around the side. I'm trying not to trip. It's got a fine feed ratchet wheel where it'll automatically advance it. I don't know if there's number. Oh, there is numbers. Hell yeah, there's numbers. I don't even know what one rev is. The screw is like 7/8 of a turn of backlash. What does that look like? 20 threads per inch? No. 16 per. I gotta mic that and see what it is. Anyhow, I didn't prepare for this video because I got my little scraping tools. There's the motor drive. I just got a chuck key sitting there. It's got a broken out T-slot. It's got a big drill hole in the T-slot. It's got the breakout, and it's got like a little side piece, and it's like, oh, there's tapped holes there, and there's tapped holes there. So there's a bolt pattern on the side, and I got the chuck sitting there for whatever, I don't know. Another lantern oiler. Here's another lantern oiler almost obscured by the leg of this built up motor support tower. And I want you to notice there's a hole tapped there, one there, and one in the back. But what somebody did is they put legs, I think those are 1/2 inch threaded holes, and then these support tower legs, they made their own 3/8 apparently holes with cap head screws. Now, when did cap head screws come about? In the 40s or 50s? I think in the 40s. I don't know. Oh, and there's another hole up there. So you got that hole up there ahead of those 2 lantern oilers. And then you got these 3, maybe 4 in the back. Why wouldn't you use them? I'm trying to show you. Look at the planer marks or shaper marks, and they end right there. I know I'm terrible with the lamp and the camera. The legs on this side of the motor tower bolt to the side of this, and they were blacksmithed. Like that bend and that bend, right? That was blacksmithed. That was hot bent, hard, man. That might even be a forge. Oh my God! Is it one piece? No. I don't know if that was welded or forged. That could be. This whole thing could be a blacksmith job. This whole top structure, I swear. Anyways, the gibs. The table gib is that 45 degrees or 50 degrees? Look at that angle on that gib. That's got to be a 45 or 50 degree gib. That's crazy. I bet you it's 45. Usually they're 60, right? 2 square-headed bolts, probably for a lamp or something, and another hole in the middle. Made for coolant. It's got a coolant gutter down to the base, and it's got another gutter. Here's your coolant feed line, valve, a dripper, and it's on a piece of a arm and a piece of hex stock that goes to bolt the back shield on. I don't know, pretty neat. And of course, this is the rear of the wheel head. Sorry, the work head. And it had attachment bolts for the overhead motor structure, but a lot of tapped holes that I could reuse for a better drive. There's like on the back. It was just so, this one was so ugly. This one has some uniqueness to it. I don't know if I'm going to keep it because it's pretty primitive, but I wanted to at least document it before I take it off and whatever I do. Not a tapered gib. It's just got the set screws for the gib adjustment, and that's like a coolant drainage trough. The bottom, here's that motor I was talking about. D-I-E-H-L, dial. I don't know how to say that. And a cast iron coolant tank, which this thing had water in it. 10 years ago, this had water in it when I took delivery of this machine, and it's all been evaporated down. That sludge is about a 1/2 inch thick. So I'll scoop that up and light it on fire outside in the stone driveway. But a neat machine, a really cool machine. I just wanted to document some of this stuff. It needs a new screw, it needs a new nut, it needs everything taken apart and going over. I have not taken the table off yet. And the ways could be totally scratched up and the machine might be close to being garbage more than it probably already is. But I have a suspicion in my hope is that the ways are not terrible. It's a 100-year-old machine. I really like it. There's shafts and stuff for the power feed inside. There's a door and there's no, there's stuff in there, but it's fully sealed. You know, the roof, you can't stick your hand up inside there and feel anything of the power feed mechanism at all. But anyhow, leave me a comment if you agree that it's a unique piece of design engineering for a machine tool. You can look up held redhead spindles on eBay, and there's still a couple on there now. I want to show you something. Oh, I should bring the flashlight. Maybe not. This is a held spindle. I'm going to go underneath the current Pratt & Whitney. See, that says held redhead. Right? This thing is huge. This is a huge spindle. This is the motor pulley. It's a double 1/2-inch V-belt. Maybe it's a 5/8 V-belt. And the chuck end or whatever is on the floor. But this is from a really big held grinder. Right? Oh, it's even got a tag about lubrication and da-dee-da-da. What I was thinking is, so this thing is about 20 inches tall. From the floor to there, it's like a drawbar, is about 20 inches. And it's got a taper. I think it's almost like a cam lock chuck. But anyways, seeing as this is a held, wouldn't it be cool to take this bolt pattern and mount it not as a wheel head, but as a work head? Instead of this is about the same length, about 19 inches. It's got two bolts, one in the front, one in the back, and this is probably a rotary T-slot. Wouldn't that look cool on here? Then it'd have a ball bearing work head. I mean, that big thing is supposed to be a big one of these is really what it is. I don't know if Held made drilling machines. That might be a drilling head. I don't know. But boy, oh boy, that would be cool to put that there. And I might need to make an adapter plate, 1-inch plate, adapter plate or something. But, you know, I should have been more prepared with this video. Then I could have, you know, got it out and showed it closer. But that's, because it's a held, I mean, this would make one neat setup. And I know it's heavy, but that head being so heavy, it's going to be bolted to the arch, which is attached to the base, so it wouldn't add any weight to the table. As neat as that is, I don't know. Again, and I don't know if these bearings are super good or super bad. I don't think they're terrible, because I put some oil in them, and they've always spun free. This was never seized. But anyhow, that's the plan, is to clean this up. It's not a first priority machine. It's like a third priority machine, or even less than third. But I wanted to bring this to you, document some of what it is and a little bit of my plan for the future. So Held Model 70, neat machine, Let me know if you think I should give it some serious love and attention, but I see a lot of potential. Thanks. This is Doozer Shop.